on this episode of the world's most dangerous podcast.
I don't support Dave Chappelle. He's still been saying, I support Dave Chappelle, but he was saying, I could have done some things a little bit different when I was handling how people felt about it. So, you know, he hasn't walked it back yet. The support is still there. The support is still there for my man Chappelle.
Well, that tooth is loose. It's not all the way out. That's all it is. So
it's loose because he realized Chappelle's a cash cow. He ain't gonna upset that apple cart.
and it's the last hoorah, so let me get this money back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna get it all back, man. You get that money back.
Yeah. Hey, this is the don't get fired section of the show. Obviously, if you haven't saw the Dave Chappelle joint, he went in, which he had some great jokes, man. You know what I'm saying? They were actually funny. But a lot of people didn't like it. I mean, obviously everybody's got their opinion on the jokes, but obviously you see a lot of people from Netflix. They did a walkout today. They did some protest because Netflix won't take it down. Just what's your thoughts on the, not necessarily what he said, but just how people are reacting to it, Jay Kemp?
Man, I always say when you overreact to an element of entertainment, like it's not for you, because comedy's always been like that. They've always taken it far. You go back, you listen to like Eddie Murphy's Raw. I mean, they go in. I mean, and think about how many times, even on Def Comedy Jam, that every comic has went in on basically their community. You know what I'm saying? But it's been all love though. You know, they even up there being flamboyant with the walking and flicking the wrist, you know, all that like stuff we consider fugazi. They was doing it because it was just comedy. And that's basically what Dave Chappelle was doing, man. People just got to get out their feelings, man. Like, it's entertainment. This dude is a comedian. He's getting paid to make people laugh. You know what I'm saying? People don't take their life that serious. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to cancel that, then you got issues. I'll let somebody else.
What was your thoughts, El?
Oh man, so I was at this show. Oh shit! It was in Detroit. At the Fillmore. It took, you had to go through and do all the COVID testing prior to getting in and doing all of that stuff. And it's funny. That's the funny story about this, is that like I remember being like, man, why am I doing all of this? I don't even want to go to this show. You know what I'm saying? But I went to it and it was really funny, and I was glad that I went. So I think there's a couple of things here, and that is that I agree with Jamar. There's some of this that's just like of overreacting, right? They're comedians. They do comedian types of things. Those are the type of things that go on. Now, the main thing a couple of things that we do have to digest though is that it's almost never about how the 90 or 95% of people take this information. It's always about how the bottom 5% of people take this information. And I think when you have somebody like Dave Chappelle and you have such a large audience like he does, there is a smidgen of responsibility to understand that the bottom 5% of your population might take you a bit too literally and might go and be goofy, ridiculous, and stupid, right? But at the same time, here's what I do know about Dave Chappelle. He didn't build his career on this. He doesn't come out here and do this the day in and day out. He's still going to get a check whether he does this or not. So this is not a thing that is like he actually would probably blow up bigger if he didn't go there. You know what I'm saying? To an extent. So I know that if this is something that he is going there on, and I've seen all of his stand-ups, this is not, I'm talking about the full span of his career. Some people would argue about the last two stand-up specials, right? Because both of them did have content related to, that particular section, right? The LGBTQIA. But if you look at his full career from the time he did "Killing Me Softly" all the way till now, that's just not who he is. You know what I'm saying?
He's been controversial. He's been talking about stuff.
He's been controversial, but it's not like his only claim to fame is talking about the LGBTQIA community, right? His claim to fame is plenty of other things, and a lot of it is actually very racist type things.
Yep.
So,
Woogie Boogie, nigga.
Neighbors might lay sick. Woogie Boogie, nigger. Woogie Boogie.
like the racial drag.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, nah. Like he gave it a little bit, and I knew when I was laughing in the theater that we was gonna have this moment right here, right now, which is kind of funny.
What do you think, Hilt, man? With the
KRS
walkouts, all that
Kane
stuff. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, put the tinfoil on too, man. Go ahead, do it.
Put the kufi on.
Put the kufi on, man. Go ahead, do it.
Oh man, y'all are wild, man. And in the words of L, stop. Nah, but
Kufi on.
A lot of cats like that bottom. You're the worst cat, J. Cam. Man, cats like there's people that bottom percentile. They like to do folks like that. I'll say they like to do what I like to call generalize and specific. So, whenever somebody says something that you don't like, and you really don't have a solidified comeback for that. Oh, you're toxic. Oh, you're, this or oh, you're that. And that's basically what's going on here. Now, I did just see that, from when the controversy started, the Netflix CEO was standing behind Dave Chappelle. But now, as effective either today or yesterday, like the CEO's kind of, loosening up toward, the other side. So, they definitely have some weight. They're going strong, and they just don't like hearing things that pertain to them that makes them feel uncomfortable. That's all it is, because Dave Chappelle, when you look at the comedy special, he really, he didn't diss them. He didn't.
No, not at all.
He didn't,
not even close.
It was just making a silly narrative out of something silly. Man.
He even called himself spoiler alert, in case you guys want to hit the pause button. Okay. He called himself a feminist. When you look at the real definition of it. Now, I'm not going to go into, basically it's like equality for, everybody. I'm just giving a loose example, but, he's like, okay, well, I support that. So, you know what I mean? So, I'm just saying that, that's what the man said. So, and that's just my loose version of it. But, when you hear, but nonetheless, that's, rhetoric like that's not good enough for that percentile. And it's just sad that, not even in the world of comedy, which was a world where you could once say whatever you wanted to during the days of Richard Pryor and, the Kings of Comedy and, all them cats, man, Red Fox.
And they performed in all white crowds. A lot
of
you could say
the rawest thing.
Yeah, and they was going in.
The rawest material. And cats would laugh.
Yeah, even my man Martin Lawrence used to get in the same.
And now Martin Lawrence was going in, yeah.
And now probably Dave Chappelle is probably one of the only two or few folks, probably next to Cat Williams and whoever else I can't think of right now, that is real raw, like old school, or not old school, but traditional comedy that's willing to say whatever without being like technically offensive. So it's just sad that, there's really no safe space to be bold in speaking what it is that's on your mind and in your heart.
And when you think about Bebo, how many times cats like Richard Pryor or Red Fox was in all white crowds talking about, nigga this, nigga that, and talking about white folks.
Right.
So white people could have canceled black comedy a long time ago.
Or even my man who used to write for the Chappelle Show. What's his name, man? Oh, Mooney, yeah.
Paul Mooney,
man. Like he gets out there.
R.I.P.
Shout out. Rest in peace. What else is gonna be crazy is, God forbid, something or when something was going to happen to Dave Chappelle, a lot of them same folks that's criticizing him was going boo-hoo and cry, oh, he was one of the best to do it. They're just blowing smoke right now because, again, they're hearing stuff that's honest when it comes to race within that community. It ain't comfortable, but it is what it is, and
what's funny?
We've been asking for that conversation for a long time. For people, you got to have uncomfortable conversations, man, in order for people to understand.
Right.
Go ahead, LB. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you good. That's but yeah, no, it's just the whole thing is funny, man. But I think like they said, nobody ever really canceled, right? There's always something that's always going to be pulling you in. So, and I don't think Dave Chappelle will have too big of a problem with this. Netflix will probably have a bigger headache than anybody, and the
as
CEO,
they go to the bank with it too.
He didn't quite walk back his statements on Dave Chappelle, though. He just said that he definitely should have recognized the feelings of the people within his organization a little bit more. So he kind of focused it in a different space, but
basically,
he never really he still never came out and was like, no, I don't support Dave Chappelle. He's still been saying I support Dave Chappelle. But he was saying I could have done some things a little bit different when I was handling how people felt about it. So, he hasn't walked it back yet. The support is still there. The support is still there for my man Chappelle.
Well, that tooth is loose. It's not all the way out. That's all it is. So it's
loose because he realized Chappelle's a cash cow. He ain't gonna upset that Apple Card.
and it's the last hoorah. So let me get this money back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're gonna get it all back, man. You get that money back.